Yeah, this is testimony number one, the English version. While I was in high school, something happened. Self defense. In April 2005. And I left my home and high school and went abroad. After a couple months, I came back to Jamaica, but at a different location where I was going to school, which was Senton. I started community college in Senton. I was there for a while. I got situated, got familiar with the environment, and I was building a network of friends. I was there boarding at a house with other students. But one day the landlord told us that we shouldn't, on the weekends, we shouldn't spend every weekend there in the town. Sometimes we should go home to our relatives every other weekend. So they decided that every other weekend we should go home to our relatives. And I hated that. I hated going home every other weekend because I like to spend the weekends in the town hanging out with friends and going to the game arcade. I really love going to the game arcade at the time. So this one weekend I went home to relatives and normally spend the weekend, and on Mondays I will travel back to St. Anne. And every Monday normally I'd be on time with with my mental clock. Normally I'll be on point with my mental clock. But on that Monday morning I was actually late. Normally when I got back from my relatives I would relax for a while, clean my sneakers, take a shower and then go to school. But on this day, I was so late that I couldn't do all of those things. I just left my things and went straight for school, went straight to class. But before I left, the housekeeper was saying some stuff to me about I should be careful and I should watch myself in the street. And I really didn't understand what she was talking about, so I just shrugged it off and went to school. While I was at school, while I was in class, I got a phone call from one of my roommates, and he was telling me that, hey, before you came from your relatives today, while we were at school, when the housekeeper was there by herself, some guys came and they were very angry and they were asking for you. And yet they said your name is not Brian, your name is Keron. And one of them had his hat covering his face the whole time. This news hit me like a bomb, and my friends in the class saw that I was frazzled, and they came outside to talk to me, to ask me what happened. And I told them what happened, and I also told them that I would have to leave school. I was so depressed because this is the second time in the same year that I would have to leave school. So I was depressed that I would have to leave the school. I was frazzled at the news, and my friends were sad too. The next day, I packed my things and left. A few days after that, a short while after that, I ended up back abroad. This was December 2005. While abroad, I was really depressed. I missed back home, and I was also sad about the fact that I couldn't get to focus on school. But God is a good God, because the only day that I was late was that day. All the time I was on time, with enough time to relax and prepare for school. That day was the only day that I was late, and that was the day that people came looking for me. So God is a good God. He knows why I was late. He know why I was late that day. He worked it out that way. He was working when I started going back to my relatives every 2 weeks, and he was working when I was late that day. Therefore, this is my testimony in proclaiming the name of God. I heard that it was a couple of them who came and looked for me. Who knows what would have happened if I was early? At that time of the day, I might have been outside cleaning my sneakers. It would be only me and the housekeeper. The other students were at school and the landlord was at work, so we were all alone. It's just that God works in mysterious ways. In life, we should always serve God and always give God thanks. In August 2006, I got baptized because while abroad, this lady took a liking to me and invited me to church. I used to go every Sabbath. And then crusade came around and they encouraged me to come every night. I used to go to the crusade, listen to the sermons, and make notes. And then on the first Sabbath was baptism, but I did not want to go. I went to the Bronx to drive around and drink with my friends. Like Jonah, I was running away from God. And then this overwhelming feeling of torment came over me, and it was unbearable. Then a voice said to me, "You see the baptism next Sabbath? You better make sure that you go." So on the next Sabbath, I went to the baptism, but I was just watching the whole thing as a spectator. Then after the preaching, before it was time for them to go in the water, outside, the lady that invited me came to me and asked me if I wanted to get baptized. And I said that I don't know. And she said that I don't have to worry about clothes or anything because they will give me everything. So I went I went into the bathroom to do some thinking. While I was there in the bathroom thinking, a feeling of conviction came over me and I came outside. This feeling was a feeling of immense conviction that came over me. And then I went outside. And then I went outside and the lady came up to me and said, "Are you going to do it?" And I was answering and I was speaking like I was reluctant. And she said, "Do it, do it." And I said, "All right, yes, I'm going to do it." And she was excited. She gave me a hug. And then I went inside and I got baptized. And right before they dipped me in the water, right before I dipped, they took a pic They took a pic before I dip. And a friend of mine said that she could see the passion in my eyes. When she saw the pic, she said she could see the passion in my eyes. And even as I am preparing this testimony, I can feel the same feeling of conviction over me. God knew what He was doing in December 2005. He kept me around to be baptized. God blessed me and kept me. In this testimony, I strive to talk about the goodness of God and how God is a good God, how God is a merciful God, and how God is a loving God. And God always looks out for people. Before I got baptized, I was a helpful person and a cheerful person that likes to make others happy. I was a loving person trying to do good. God must have seen something or had a purpose for my life. So He had mercy on me and helped me. Even when I felt like going the other way, God showed me which way I should go, and the right way and the right direction. Even though we won't be perfect, His mercy is greater than everything.